Hello and welcome one and all to a fun-filled episode of Commander and Coffee. We're back again, and this time with some new, fresh-filled, fun-filled faces. I don't know what I'm going with there, but we're gonna roll with it. Tonight we have someone brand spanking new to the channel who's gonna be joining us a lot more. Max. Max, say hi to everybody.
Hi, I'm Max. Most people probably know me from head judging a ton of Eminence events or seeing me on the Eminence stream on Wednesdays or a multitude of other magic related things.
Awesome. Head judge, wonderful judge. I met Max a long time ago playing at his shop up in New York. And it's been a very chill dude. I, quote unquote, as he'll tell you, I stole a win off him. But, you know, I won it fair and square. That Mox Diamond was totally free.
Gifted.
And then something I'm extremely excited for, I have the person who taught me how to play Magic way back when. We're talking over 10 years ago. He just happened to get into cEDH, and that's what we're going to be talking today. It's going to be Travis. Travis, tell the people about yourself.
I play card games, and I coach card games.
Mm-hmm.
And I do pretty well.
You can plug who you are. It's perfectly fine.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Travis used to be very good at Hearthstone. He might still be. We don't know. Jury's out.
I would definitely take many matches if anybody wanted to.
Hit him up. You could tweet at him or it's not tweeting anymore. What is it now?
Yes.
X. How do you go? Do you X at someone?
X is gonna give it to
X
him.
gonna give it to you? That's what I was gonna go with. So, so we're here to talk about what got Travis into cEDH from playing just regular 60 card draft limited, the whole shebang, which is what he taught me on way back when. And he also taught me Commander, but it was teaching me playing 1v1 against a mono blue stacks control deck, which made me the asshole I am today in this game that we all love so dearly. So it's kind of a cool experience having me be able to teach him what cEDH is and how it works and, you know, some different things. So I gave a brief rundown of what you were to me with Magic, Travis. What can you say you are to how's Magic to you?
Magic is like an abusive friend, and somehow you keep hanging out with this friend and you regret it, but then also enjoy it. And I think that's Magic for a lot of people, card games in general. But I have been enjoying cEDH more than other formats. Pretty much I only like limited, specifically cube drafting. But I do kind of like the different elements of it. The fact that it's 4-player rather than just 1v1, so that there's a lot more like elements to it and almost like politics type stuff. Things brings the game a lot more depth.
So you said that you recently, like you got into it and it kind of piqued your interest. What exactly piqued your interest in it? Anything that you really wanted to do? Did you want to like stick it to the man, like be like, hey, this is easy. Like I ruled Hearthstone, now I'm going to rule cEDH.
I mean, I like playing pretty much every game that comes out. It is definitely different that I'm going to play in like an in-person event, because that's not usually something I do. But there's probably been at least 15 card games that came out that I've hit top 10 in at one point or another, usually when the game first comes out. I think I have a good idea of kind of figuring out the mechanics of a game and figuring out what kind of the best decks are pretty quickly. So whenever a new kind of game comes out, I like to play it, and then if the game does take off at a certain point in my life, I would invest more time into it. But now I'm just kind of looking to play for fun.
That's entirely fair. I know it's very exhausting at some point being the grinder and everything. The life is always go to event, try and top, see if you can break even on the event and go home. So what made you decide to come now to a paper event and put all that physical effort into coming into the paper world of cEDH to essentially take home the bragging rights of just being the best in that format now?
I mean, the biggest thing is just kind of convenience for this event specifically. Initially, my plan was to just kind of show up and play whatever the easiest deck in the format was, just because it's close to my house. And then we played a couple of games, and I kind of got addicted to it.
And so the people know, what event is that exactly?
Great question.
Would that be the Festival of Nights coming up in the Sword in the Stone
Yeah,
in
that would.
Wilkes-Barre?
About a
Yeah.
week from now, from this recording, yes.
Yeah, about a week. Now I can say it's 1 week away.
Yeah. We had an argument earlier, yesterday, to be in fact, about the difference between a week or like a week. And I said that it's like a week away, and Max is like, no, it's 2 weeks, and we settled on a week and a half. So, you know.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that you were playing around with some decks beforehand. What were you playing around with beforehand, and what did you settle on now?
So the only thing I wanted to do was play stacks pieces.
Oh, you wanted to make other people miserable like you made me miserable when we first started, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So I basically went online and typed in Trinisphere and looked up decks that had Trinisphere in them, and then talked to a couple of people and said, hey, what would be some of the easier decks in the format, because I don't feel like putting a lot of effort into it. And I landed on Slicer, and everybody who played with me didn't enjoy their lives, and it made me really happy. And eventually we played a few more games, and it felt like the deck was just way too luck based. And if I was going to put time into it, I decided to look into some other decks. But I played a lot of Slicer for about a week, and then I started kind of looking at the decks that other people were playing, and I looked up some of the previous like Eminence Games events just to see what other people were playing. And I branched into like some more combo decks, but I wanted to keep them, again, I wanted to try to stay simple and kind of like 2-card combos or 3-card combos at the most.
It's
And
very
yeah.
that's I think that's where a lot of people start now. When you say you were looking at decks for Eminence's shameless plug here, is that because you were using the EDH top 16
Yeah.
website that we've put out with all of the latest tournament results and up-to-date deck lists showing you real-time meta accuracy?
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'm gonna also help plug that, because I know we've multiple times said how much we adore that site and everything that Eminence does with it. But with the most recent update and having the meta breakdown per tournament, it has made my life, because I play to statistics. Like, I want to know what decks are doing well. I was a grinder beforehand. We've said that multiple times. And we go with what's the average winning, what's playing the most, of course you're going to get some people playing fringe decks. You're going to see a Krakashima come out of nowhere. You're going to see a Tayam, you know what I mean? Like, but the fact that it's now just going, hey, here's the meta breakdown for that tournament. Now, if I'm traveling, so if I'm going down to Georgia for the cookout, I unfortunately didn't, but either way,
Yeah, you and me
I could
both.
see what the breakdown was that was played there. Or if I'm on a West Coast, I could see what the breakdown is here. East Coast, I mean, we know Koval has been ripping it up here. He's so we had Mike Sad on Winota, so a grindier, stacksier deck with that big finish, and then we had Koval at Punt City 2, taking it down with T&K, another grindy deck, and then you also had Koval taking down on T&K and Oktoberfest. I know a lot of people from the local-ish shop, Rip and Ship, is coming down, and we refer to that. Josh and I talked about it in the last time we were here, called the Mid-Range Mountain. So we know it's going to be a grindy meta here. So knowing that strategy, that archetype, that whole thing, and knowing what you know of all card games, Travis, what influenced you to pick the deck that you're going to take, and what deck is?
So I'm gonna go with Najeela, and the reason I went to that strategy is just because of how many options it gives you. I think you can kind of adjust your play based off the pod you're in, and you can get away with some really low card hands. For example, like if I'm going early in a pod and I know there's some stacks players, I can kind of aggressively mulligan for a good start, and kind of adjust from there. And then if you're in a later seed, you can kind of play for like a more of a grindy hand and like try to mulligan for like a fish or Ristic Study or a tutor for one of those things. And I also think Najeela just really punishes a lot of decks that are playing stacks pieces. And it was kind of a reason why I liked Slicer initially, was it was just kind of put your commander in play, and if anybody's playing any type of stacks effects, then you just kind of punish the entire table.
So you've gone full circle from wanting to slam stacks pieces to wanting to punish people for even bringing them to the table.
No, so I want other people to play the stacks pieces for me.
Gotcha. So you don't have to waste your own resources casting the stacks piece.
Boy,
Yeah.
that sounds awfully familiar, Max. It's like what I did to you for that Mox Diamond. Jeez, I was letting other people play the game for me. Sorry, had to get that
Listen.
little dig in there.
Just because somebody main phased a rift and passed turn to you doesn't mean that you actually won that game.
I came home with the Mox Diamond. I think I won.
You did.
I think you guys both said how important data is to you, and I'm pretty sure if you look it up, one of you won.
That's not public anywhere.
That was
Thankfully,
pre. Yeah.
that predates Command Tower when I was
Yep.
still running things on an Excel sheet. Because I've been running cEDH events for like 2+ years at this point. And finding a solution on my own, geez, that was something, especially when I had as competitive an environment as I did, was not a fun time. I went through many iterations of Excel sheets for that.
I don't want to talk about Excel sheets.
Yeah, Matt the data. yeah. Travis over there with his $1.5 billion just for fantasy drafts. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure I had to make a new email because I ran out of space. So
that's actually impressive with Excel documents. Wow.
yeah.
So the Najeela list you're talking about, it's more of like a pivot list. Did you get the list off of the EDH top 16?
So I took the best 3 lists from what I saw, and I used the compare tool, and I used kind of the information that I saw from other decks and made a couple of changes, which I think like the majority of decks are kind of like maybe at most 10 cards different from what I saw. So I just kind of took the pieces I liked from each list and made some adjustments based off of like games that we were playing, just games that I've watched, and even just like talking about what the possible metagame would be for our area.
Yeah, Najeela has been, my personal tournament deck for God since Pun City 1. Sometimes I do like to mix it up, play a Kinnan here and there or something else. I know you watched me play a bunch of it, and I did also find that most people are anywhere between 7 to 12 cards difference in most NBC or no bad cards in the Najeela list. Some are personal preference. Some are, meta choices. That tends to be what it breaks down to being typically. What you see most often. I know Memo, who's had great success with his Najeela list, is, I think, from my personal Najeela list, 8 cards off, between 6 and 8 cards off last time I checked. But yeah, that seems to be it. I mean, Najeela isn't, I don't want to say it's quote unquote solved, but like the vast majority of the cards, at least 80 plus cards, are typically there. They're going to be the same because it's the Najeela strategy. You're going to get your Derevi, you're going to get your Grim Hireling. Though I have seen some people not want to run Grim Hireling, which is, it's a choice. It's a choice. Max, I know a couple of people up by you also run Najeela. What are you seeing up there?
Honestly, there is almost no Najeela at my store. Like, quite literally none.
Really? The last event I was there was 3 months ago, I think, and there was 2 Najeelas that one, and neither were me. So
those Najeelas actually were complete like randoms from out of state that don't normally show up. I faced no Najeela the last 2 events that I was playing. We are mid-range mountain, so combat combos like that kind of get punished because spot removal is very much in favor in that meta. So you sit down and you had like a 75% chance of seeing Tivit in your pod, because I think there were 7 the last time we had an event. And Timnacrom and Sisay. I think those are honestly the 3 most prevalent decks, because we have 2 Sisay stands that always play it, and then at least 1 or 2 randoms that show up playing the deck since Comedian did his tech on it to show the strength of it. Um, but otherwise, it's all just value mid-range lists, a good amount of Tiem, a good amount of Tim Necrom, a sprinkling of some turbo decks that just don't really do well because they sputter out in the mid to late game. But just a lot of big beefy things and a lot of Tivets, anything that can play strength in the long game.
Hearing that, Travis, what is that? How does that make you feel about playing Najeela in this event?
So I think a lot of people in card games can see what decks are strong, but I think it also comes down to adapting your play based off of what you're playing against. Because a lot of strong decks have kind of different play styles for whatever you're against, and it's pretty obvious in like other games like Hearthstone where people would consider some matchups to be either bad or even unwinnable. And you could kind of take the same cards, and yeah, if you play them the same way every time, then you're probably going to lose. But I think there's enough kind of options in the deck in general. And I think there's enough kind of grindy pieces, like even like Samet is kind of a huge card that I looked at it initially and I'm like, wow, this card's really bad. And then I played it one time and I'm like, yeah, this card's a staple. And just stuff like that where you could even like let other people kind of play the game while you just sit there sculpting your hand, and then in one turn kind of win even with nothing on the board, right? Especially how easy it is to play like just Thassa's Oracle plus any of the kind of black tutor win conditions with it, right? So I don't think there's really such a thing as a bad meta for Najeela, and that's kind of why I like the deck.
That's fair. Like there is always the line of going Thassa's Consult, but then the rest of the combos, like your Derevi combos, are not as strong. So it kind of leads a bunch of the deck to essentially not be as good. And not that I'm saying Consultation Thassa is not good, but I see significantly less wins on it in my specific meta. However, that doesn't really relate to the Philly meta. They're definitely more turbo focused, so I don't think you'd have any issue. Come to New York, you might have some problems, but I think Najeela will do perfectly fine on for Festival of Nights.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, if I was to take a deck to the tournament, if I was playing in the tournament and not judging it, I would be taking Najeela myself. Because it's
well, now I want to change my deck.
That's fine. You can do whatever you want. I'm not playing in it, so we're good. I mean, listen, we're already at the point now. We already ordered our cards. You need a deck, I could build one for you. You find something, I'll put it together.
Yeah, let's not talk about the decks that I've ordered.
Yeah, you were
play
all over the
Tivit.
place. That's one of the decks he ordered.
Play Tivit.
That's definitely one of the decks he ordered. TNK, Tivit, and Dargo Thrasios. I genuinely thought that you were going to stick with Dargo Thrasios. You seem to be having fun with the deck.
I was.
A couple times you were like, what drew you to that deck, honestly?
Fish. Yeah.
I like you know what? That is completely fair.
Yeah.
You say fish?
Fish, yes.
Yeah.
It's the closest he could get to Merfolk. I'm sorry, Murlocs, not Merfolk. Murlocs in
okay.
cEDH, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense.
Yes. In Hearthstone, Travis is known as the Murloc guy. So
gotcha.
He has you'll see it when you meet him. He has a big old tattoo of a Murloc. Is it a Cold Light Oracle? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I knew it.
Cold Light Oracle
his
won
staple
me
card.
my first $10,000.
Yep.
So yeah, and that was like another, like, if you look up any of my Hearthstone stuff, it's all my decks were kind of played similarly to Stax decks, where it's like it was like almost Turbo Fog-esque, where I would win without dealing damage to the other person, just kind of watch them kill themselves.
And how would they look you up when we don't know your call name? Your tag.
I don't do anything.
I know you don't do anything anymore.
Technically, I'm partnered on Twitch at Freshca.
There you go.
I haven't streamed in probably 2 years.
6 months, I thought it said last time we looked.
Yeah, I clicked that back. I looked it up. I went live by accident when I was playing. God, I don't even remember. It There's like some really hard old game, and yeah, don't look at any of my VODs. It's okay. I might even delete them.
No. Take the embarrassment. We all live with it. We all take the L's. You know what I mean? We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah. Also streamed some shooting games, which was a big mistake, but just stick to card game.
Yeah, you're getting old. I mean, your Twitch reflexes aren't as good anymore, huh? Although I still don't understand how you play on like -3 DPI. So that's besides the point. You ever see something that does that, Max? You literally
I don't touch shooters. I'm awful at them. I can't object track worth shit. So don't ever ask me to play like Call of Duty or Fortnite or anything like that. I will drag your ass through the ground and be the worst teammate ever. I mean, I guess if you want an ego boost of just like murking on someone for an hour, great, but it's not my sit me at a card table where I can actually kick your ass. Not there.
So this is way back when. Quick little side tangent, not related to Magic. Went over Travis's house because he lives near me, and when he was playing, I think it was Counter-Strike. Yeah, it was Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And he had a playmat on top of his table where his computer was. His one hand was all the way to the left on another table on the keyboard, and his mouse was on that mouse pad. And to turn 45 degrees to the left, he literally started from one end of the table on the playmat and went all the way to the left side and turned 45 degrees. I stopped and I went, how? Like, it made zero sense to me, honestly. But yeah, no, that's just like Travis and I go pretty far back, so
that's offensive.
That's fair. God. Anyway, Magic. Najeela's 5 colors. You went from monocolor. You skipped over 2 color, went right to 3 color.
That's not true. I played black red.
There was
yes,
an
you're right.
You
did play
Ob
Nixilis.
Playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Because
didn't
I
stick
said tutors are really good. Why am I not playing tutors?
Yes.
And then I played red black, and then I was like, hey, this is kind of just slower than what I was doing, and still not quite good enough. And then went to 3 colors, and now we're on 5. So what I've learned is more colors is better.
Yep. So that adds some intricacies, obviously, with like fetching lands and stuff like that. How comfortable are you with the intricacies of like land fetching, your combos, when to go for, when to pivot, etc., etc.?
So almost every card game I played, my mana was given to me for free. So I'm definitely concerned that I'm going to go for a win and be short of colored mana. That is a big concern of mine.
Yeah, paying attention to your pips is hard, I guess, when you've never had to worry about what color things are. Right? Most other resource games don't have different types of resource, I should say. Very, very few have actual matching resources.
Yeah, even like there was another game that was basically Magic, but it wasn't Magic. And even that game, you only needed one of the type of land that you wanted. And then
what's the point? That's basically the same thing.
Exactly. Even Disney is that way. I've been playing a little bit of that game.
Oh,
you've been getting in on some Lorcana?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a glutton for card games, I guess. So like, when a new game comes out, I'll look at it and see if I want to play it or not. But
have you been playing on Pixelborn?
Excuse me, what?
Yes.
Pixel what?
Pixel you can play online.
Born. Okay.
Yeah.
Pixel Born. Sorry, I'm a little deaf and it sounded like Pixel Porn, and I'm like, don't look that up.
No, nothing that way. We're no Rule 34 Disney here.
Oh yeah, 34. That's what I meant, not 32. Whatever.
Don't look that up either.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think it's gonna be good, but
you don't think it's gonna be good?
I think it's gonna have a really weird niche feel just because it's Disney, but the game itself is kind of awkward, and the decks are like kind of build themselves. So maybe like once there's more cards, it'll be good.
I mean, that's almost every first set, right? It's a little underwhelming because everything's very, very straightforward and like the themes of what goes well together.
I don't feel like that was true with so many card games that I've played, though. Like, I think there's definitely like at a certain point, yes, you're gonna get bored. But I
Mhm.
feel like with a lot of the online games, like the updates are pretty quick, and the fact that it's an online game, they could even just change cards in the middle of the set just to like mix it
Power
up.
balancing.
Yeah, and like that's really kind of why I enjoyed playing games online, because it's like it's not like you're even wasting money if like a card gets changed, because well, you just have the new card now and you don't have to worry about like remembering the text change. So I don't know. It's definitely gonna be interesting to play cards in person again. Like when I was a kid, I played a lot of in-person Magic and like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff.
Mhm.
But I'll be honest, the last Magic event I went to, another one of our friends was shuffling my cards for. So it'll
Please
be
don't do
interesting.
that with our event this week. Get some
Yeah.
practice shuffling your cards yourself.
Nah, I'm just gonna show up and we're gonna see what happens. Billy could show you the sleeves I wanted to buy.
No. No. So
But they
just for
were glorious.
context, he wanted to, ready for this? He wanted to double sleeve, triple
Okay.
sleeve, and then
Mhm.
top load, and then gem case. You know, the one touches?
Called screw downs, Billy. We're old.
I'm
It's
sorry.
really fun because I would love to have him do that. Come see my head judge in the morning and promptly be told to undo all of that work before round 1 starts to avoid a game loss.
Yeah,
And I would have no remorse whatsoever. 0.
yeah. And it would have been really funny. I
He
just
almost
wanted
For
bought
to.
him.
who?
I was just gonna sit down at the table and just like start piling them on, and just wait. Like even if I sleeved the wrong deck, just to be fun. But I think it would have got some nice reactions out of people.
Oh, I mean, you're gonna see people with triple sleeve decks there. I mean, this hobby is pretty damn expensive, honestly. And there will be
Yeah,
at least one person there with a fully foiled out deck,
but
or
Billy, that's
yes,
what's so great about these events.
what?
It's not expensive.
I mean, if you use the test cards, you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, that's why they're all nice and inclusive at Eminence Games.
There you look at that. What a plug.
It is really nice that we are currently as proxy friendly as possible. Um, while I want to keep everything proxy friendly for as many events as we can, I do have to say that someday, if Wizards actually decides to adopt this format and put out official policy, which may or may not come sooner than later, um, and we actually have like WotC supported events, that proxies may be a thing that just unfortunately goes away through no option of our own. I'm sure there'll still be some unsanctioned events, and anything that WotC doesn't support, we can obviously still use playtest cards and things of that nature. But at some point, we're gonna have like a main event at a MagicCon that is 10K that happens to be cEDH no proxy, just like when they used to run random vintage events and Eternal Weekend, because Eternal Weekend I believe is no proxy. So
Sometimes, because Eternal Weekend is most of the time not sanctioned.
I believe that has changed. Wizards has picked it up and now
Oh, nice.
provides very, very exclusive secret layer prizes for Vintage Weekend or Eternal Weekend. So now all of those events, I believe, are just fully sanctioned. I could be wrong, and I'd be happy to be corrected. But as far as I'm aware, all of those are no longer just proxy friendly. Because I believe right now there's a Darcy promo, Dragon Rage channeler for the next one coming up in Pittsburgh that is only for top 8. So you'd need to get 4 of those to play them, and I think there's only going to be maybe 128 of them in circulation at some point once we have our Eternal Weekend here and in Europe. So I think something similar could eventually be on the horizon for our format.
Well, until then, we will love what we have and be appreciative of what we have.
Yeah, never take proxies for granted, because one day we just won't have them.
Yeah, and I think that will drive a distinct, I don't want to say schism, but like there'll be a clear line between proxy event meta and non-proxy, in my personal opinion. Because if you look at the events that have not been proxy, I mean, the SCG Con 5K was non-proxy, if I remember correctly, and an Animar deck won that. And then CCU won, if I also remember correctly, a CVT won. Actually, CVT won 2 years in a row, right?
Yeah, back to back, same player.
Same player won it 2 years in a row. So, and those, well, the CCU2 was proxy friendly. CCU1 was not, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes, yeah, we allowed proxies because the first one was run by Monarch, and the second one we picked up.
Yeah, no, I definitely like, and you could see there's a clear. I mean, that's also West Coast and East Coast meta as well too. But if you look, they're simpler decks. The cards in them are typically not the most expensive overall. You could build them more on a budget typically with how expensive. I mean, what Mox Diamond is, what, $700? It's 600 plus. I know that. But
yeah, Mox Diamond is for sure like the one of the worst offenders of this format.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's necessarily a true statement. I think most of the decks, at least for CCU2, I don't know what the meta was for CCU1 just because I don't have.
We don't have the
that
data
on
on
paper.
that. Yeah. I know I watched a couple games and like you could kind of see that it was like the decks didn't seem optimal in the sense that you see them in proxy tournaments.
Right.
So like that's kind of where I'm basing, and you know, some local events that are also still running them. There's a shop that's maybe an hour away from me right now that runs an event, and they only ran a 5-card proxy, and like, you know, still even there, you saw people like you saw the decks that you're like, oh, you're playing, excuse me, the cycle dual land. The ones
the Prairie Stream.
Yeah, those ones, yeah. And you're like, oh, okay. They were like, yeah, I don't have a Tundra. I'm like, okay, you know, I get it. So, I lucked out that I've been playing for so long, and I made some pretty smart decisions on getting my cards early. So I used to be a person where I was like, no, I hate proxies. I hate that kind of thing. Because I had the cards and I'm like, well, I got them, so why can't somebody else get them? To I just want to play good games. I just want to have good games. And part of it was because of the type of proxies that I was seeing. A slip of paper in front of a card that matched the color of the deck you were playing. So, you know, a Gravecrawler in the deck with a slip of paper saying that it was a Reanimate or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, things like that, or a basic land. This was my worst one that I nearly lost my mind. There was a Plains in a mono white deck, written on it Trinisphere, and I ended up losing because I'm a visual person. I didn't see the Trinisphere, and yeah, I mean, it was local, so you know, it's whatever. But still, it's like that's the type of proxy environment I was in at the time, and yeah, I did not like.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. I mean, setting a standard for proxies, I think, helps with things like that, and people just being lazy of not wanting to go, like, get actual playtest cards or use proper modal double face inserts. But I don't think we can blame a whole format on that, which it sounds like you've come past at this point anyway. But yeah, I definitely know some people who don't like proxies, and I tell them to shut up because the other option is for you to not play this format because there will be no players here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people who at this point in the climate of Magic can't really justify owning duels and high-end stuff. It's almost getting very scary to own a lot of power or a lot of, just because of like a bunch of uncertainty that's come about in the recent years.
Don't worry, they got us judges though. Watsy's got our back. Never.
Oh yeah,
that.
by giving us some a set of basic lands spread out over 2 quarters worth of judge promos. That's the absolute best.
I couldn't want anything more in my life than those 5 basic lands.
Except teasing us all year that we were going to have a full year of retro frame artists, but now we get basic lands.
But Max, they have the owl in them.
And you know, we play basics in every deck. Oh wait. Does our format use a basic land unless you're in 2 colors? No.
You should.
I don't disagree with you. I fit an island into all of my decks just so that I have access to casting Otawara for stacks pieces.
Yeah.
But that might be because I over respect cards like Back to Basics and Blood Moon, just because of how devastating they are to me if I were to have to face them.
Billy's friends have now adapted to every time I'm in the pod with them to fetch their basics.
They're like, oh
Good.
geez, oh no, he's gonna play that Blood Moon.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't hurt you to have a single blue. Like I used to play Cephalid Coliseum as a gotcha for Thassa's Oracle combo, and I just cut that for a basic island.
So anyway, now that tangent's over, it's safe to say, Travis, that you are very familiar with like competitive environments, correct?
You could definitely say that about card games, yes.
Yeah, I card games is definitely one thing that you're pretty competitive on. Do you think that you're gonna have fun overall in the cEDH, scene?
I mean, so far I've had fun. I haven't been to an event yet, but I'm sure it'll be kind of nice to be in a competitive setting where I actually don't really have any expectations for myself, which is nice. I feel like that'll make it more fun because a lot of the times when I would go to events, it was
More
less
of
about
fun.
having fun and more about like just having a good placement, and that kind of ruined a lot of events. I'm looking forward to that.
So that leads me to the next question. Depending on which way you do, you come out on top as a winner or you top 64. What's your actual goal, number one? And number two, do you see yourself doing this in the long term? Or at least, maybe competing once in a while? Not saying go grinder
So
status like you did with Hearthstone,
yeah,
but
I
like,
mean, if there's like events that are kind of close by and I can get the time off, I think I'll go to as many as I kind of can. I'm not sure if it's a format that I would enjoy enough to play like the online format. But it's something I would explore for sure. Because I do kind of like watching the online events too. It's been nice to kind of just put on like while I'm driving in the car, listening to some of the other different podcasts and different games. And I always have been a person that likes tournament matches more than just casual matches, even if it's like it doesn't really matter what the level of play is. If there's something on the line, then it's kind of more fun to listen to. So I think I would definitely do some events if it lines up with where I'm at for sure. But I'm just kind of enjoying it as I go at the moment. I'm not really putting any kind of pressure on myself or making any promises.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's a good way to slowly just get into it. I was also we've all been competitive grinders, but I took a bigger break and stopped competing altogether because I went into judging. I just got frustrated from event burnout after event burnout, and then not walking away with anything. So I'm like, how can I go enjoy Magic and still walk away with something? And all of a sudden, I'm a judge traveling the country to work large events, which is fun. But I don't know, something about competing and just trying to win and having a reason to just try and win and focus on the game. It's refreshing every once in a while. Like every couple of months, I'm like, I need to sleeve up and prove that I can still play Magic, and I'm gonna go to an event.
To that point, I kind of did something similar where I really enjoyed the competitive side of things.
Mhm.
But I didn't necessarily like the 2 to 3 day grinds that you'd have to do for like a lot of these big qualifiers. So I kind of went more into coaching. And I think if this format is as competitive and like it seems like it's growing and I
Mhm.
do perform well, I feel like that would probably be something that I would go into again rather than being a grinder.
yeah, you were in charge of a couple local esports programs for a couple of the colleges around here. That's the word I want to use is programs, right?
So in charge is definitely an overreach. Uh, I
Head
was
coach.
I was part of Harrisburg University, and we did make playoffs every year I was there. But it was kind of a program that was ran by a lot of really smart people, and I was really lucky to be a part of it. But that was kind of one of my stepping stones within esports, where I got a lot of kind of met a lot of cool people and stuff. The guy running the program was named Chad. He can't even make this stuff up, but he was the esports Chad. Like he made everything work, and it was really fun.
Strong John, everything.
I don't think he'll watch this, but he is my hero.
Aw. Well, you Chad, if you hear this, I don't know if you will, we're going to try and find you. And we're going to get you to give Travis a hug.
He works at Riot now, so I don't know if he's my hero anymore. But it's fine.
Well, I mean, that's why you get bad matchups.
Probably. It's his fault I'm not challenger in TFT, to be honest.
Makes so much sense.
But yeah, I mean, coaching has always been something I really enjoyed. So we did a lot of like collegiate Hearthstone events. I did a lot of coaching to like other professional players. Some of them won Dream Hacks. I coached somebody to a world championship. So it's been a very fun experience, and I wouldn't mind kind of reliving something similar to that, but like on obviously a lower scale. I'm not really looking to get necessarily recognition anymore. I just kind of want to find a new game to play and kind of meet some cool people. And if I could kind of meet people through coaching and stuff again, I think that would be. I met a lot of some of what I would consider my closest friends actually through people who initially paid for coaching, and then through some really poor business decisions, I decided that I liked them enough to give them some coaching for free, and now they're lifelong friends. So it's kind of like if people are into the same stuff you are, like it's just really cool to kind of make different friendships out of that and branch out that way.
It was not me. I did not take any coaching from.
True.
Now, with everything else that you've done, going to DreamHack, would you ever want to go back to DreamHack again for a 60 card format and play in some of the regional qualifiers or play in an actual regionals? Go full circle?
No.
No interest in 60 card, straight cEDH, if anything.
Yeah, I don't even know if I would want to go to like anything that would be considered like grind. Like I would just want to go to events, and like if I won money and they were close by, cool. But I don't think I'm ever gonna like take any game really super seriously again. It was a very fun point in my life, but I have moved on.
Getting too old for it.
It's not even really the age of it. It's just like my expectations for myself are just too high, and I've been out of it for so long that I feel like it would just require way too much time that I don't really have any to be at like the level I would want to be at before I would actually take something seriously. And I don't think the payoff is there for me. I don't think I'll be there again.
Fair enough. I mean, we all have our limits and things we don't want to have to go through. It is very stressful when you put that much expectation on yourself to constantly do well. Definitely speaking from experience. I'm still reeling from the time that I top 16 without winning a game. That made me very upset with myself.
Yeah, if you Google my actual name, not Freshca, but if you look up some like really old Magic events, you can see some like random Pro Tour qualifiers and like some other stuff that I top 16 because I just showed up and made a deck before the event. And there's even like a legacy event that I played in Philly with Shocklands because I was asked to go to the event the day before. And I just don't think, even like that stuff, I couldn't take it seriously. And I feel like I would be able to do well if I did, but it just takes way too much time, and then the cards are too expensive. It's just the payoff's not there, and yeah, so kind of where we're at.
So as we transition to the next part of the show, I guess whatever we're called, we're gonna do some test hands with Najeela with your list. But real quick, as a little side tangent, you know, the thing we haven't learned about either of you guys is what's your favorite coffee or what's your favorite brewed beverage? Max, why don't you go first?
Black hazelnut cold brew with nothing else in it.
Okay.
As strong as you can make it.
Okay. I like that. That's a good one. Travis, what about you?
I don't drink anything hot. So
no, you drink hot sauce.
I did just say that I drink a cold brew.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like,
no, I know. I'm just saying,
okay.
like for me, I don't like I love coffee, but I don't do it like any of my drinks hot at all. So anything ice or cold brew, I'm good. I don't really consider like the frappes or anything like that coffee. They're more like milkshakes. So I'm pretty basic. I'll just take like a vanilla iced coffee from pretty much anywhere and be happy.
That's fair. That's fair. So let's talk about our first hand that we got here. So we have a Taiga, Beseju, who endures, Arid Mesa, Arcane Signet, Enlightened Tutor, Phantasmal Image, and Tinderwall.
Pitch.
Max's
Yeah.
pitch. Travis, what do you say?
It kind of depends what seat I'm in. If I'm last, then depending, like, if this is my first 7, I'm definitely pitching. If it's my second 7, I'm probably pitching. But if this is like my 6 or 5, then I'll probably keep it just because you can kind of get like a turn 2 fish or something and like maybe have a chance. But overall, I think you just pitch it in most situations.
Yeah, so in my opinion, this is a very keepable 6 in my personal opinion. In opening 7, 100% pitch it. Like, yes, you do get to go turn 1 Taiga into Tinderwall, into Arcane Signet, into End
I got
Step,
him home.
into End Step, Enlightened Tutor for, a fish or whatever you want. But it doesn't really do anything after that. So this is kind of like a little bit of a trap hand, so to speak. So let's take a look at another one. Oh, now this hand's pretty spicy. We have a Tropical Island, Fluted Delta, Command Tower, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Birds of Paradise, and a Samut Visor of Nakamu. Noctamun? Whatever, Samut. It's fine. And I know you just recently said how important that card was to you. So what are your thoughts on this one?
This is another hard one, honestly, because you have so much fast mana, but it actually doesn't do anything. Like you can't even turn one Najeela. But I think you have to keep it. If it's your first 7, maybe not. But like you have so much mana, you have a card draw engine, and you can still turn 2 Najeela, which is really strong. But
Yeah, with turn 2 Najeela into turn 3 Samut, so that you're attacking with, you're getting 2 warriors on top of that. Like, yeah, that's great. I'm sorry, it's passable. It's not great, it's passable.
right, like you would much rather have like I would give up 3 of these cards if it means I can play Najeela on 1 instead of Najeela on 2.
Yeah.
Like the mana vault's kind of useless in this hand. Even the soul ring's not like amazing in this hand. But
Yeah.
like you don't need the soul ring and the bird, right? Like you just need one or the other. But it's good enough. There's definitely a lot of cards that could punish you, and it's good enough to where I would keep it. And like the cards in your hand are strong enough where there's a lot of draws that make it way better. So I think it's a close keep.
Let's say, is Samut really good enough? I know I've seen a lot of people playtesting that card, but it feels a little lackluster. The same way Grim Hireling also feels lackluster. Just like there's not really, I guess, better options, but it also just doesn't feel like something that we're happy to be doing.
Okay, let me ask you this: do you like the One Ring?
I'm currently playing it because it provides enough card advantage, and I can't find a reason not to play it.
Okay, how many cards in a game do you draw with the One Ring?
Depends 1 to 8.
Okay, so when the One Ring comes out, usually you draw 1 card, and the next turn you draw 2 cards. With Submit, you could be drawing like 4 to 5 the turn it comes out. And on the surface, the card looks terrible. Like before I even played my first game with Najeela, I didn't even want to include it in the list because I'm just looking at him like this is so bad. And then I played a few games with it, and now it's just really good card advantage. And a lot of the counter spells in this format are specifically focused on non-creature spells. So it has even more of a likelihood of resolving, especially if you already resolved Najeela previously. That I think it's very strong.
Okay, I can definitely see that argument. I think right now we can get away with it, but I do think eventually people are going to have to start respecting creatures or continue to get blown out by them.
I agree 100% with that. Yes.
Like we're on borrowed time for playing cards like Summit. So eventually, like we'll hit a format that doesn't support or get away with casting things like that for free.
So I agree with you, but at the same time, in a format like that, I don't think Najeela is a strong deck anymore.
Also very fair. Very,
Yeah.
very fair.
The other good thing about Sima is it has the text warrior, which also makes it very powerful. The if it was just a human cleric, I don't think it would be played in Najeela. The fact that it has warrior on top of the other text really pushes it over the edge for us, in my personal opinion, and all my playtesting for it.
Yeah, it gives you the extra advantage of playing it for sure, right? Like it takes it from like a borderline cuttable card to just having just enough synergy where you really want that card.
Yeah, and as for the Grim Hireling argument, if we pull up a hand with it, we'll go over it. But it's Grim Hireling, because it makes you 2 treasures, is what puts it over the edge. It puts it over cards like, oh boy, Professional Facebreaker. That's the card I was looking for. I couldn't think of the name of it. So that's why Grim Hireling is better, because I in the last event I played in, I ended up turn 2ing by tutoring a Grim Hireling right to the top, and I was able to connect with 2 with 1 mana open. And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, I think Grim Hireling is also just really good because, like, if you're using a tutor to get it, usually you have black mana. But a lot of the other win conditions, you need a lot of different mana colors. So it makes, like, your mana base a little more, like, able to be played around, right? Like, if you get cut off of a color, you still have outs.
What do you say to another one? Max, why don't you go ahead and read this one off? Because
If
this is
I
an
was-
interesting hand, so.
We have Jayla, City of Brass, Exotic Orchard, Enlightened Tutor, Soul Partition, Savine's Intuition. Why is this an interesting one? We're like casting turn 1 Naji with Enlightened Tutor. This is not a hand. There's nothing to do.
So that's what you're not seeing there. So you could easily go right into Jeweled Lotus into with City of Brass, cast Najeela, start building up with Enlightened Tutor. So you Enlightened Tutor for, you could grab Fish, you could grab Rhystic Study, you can grab Mana Crypt, because then next turn you're going to cast that Intuition in the end step and put the rest of the combo in.
So we have a turn 1 of casting just Najeela, a turn 2 of doing absolutely nothing because we're playing Intuition at end step, and then hopefully being able to resolve that with no protection and get through on turn 3.
Sometimes you just get there. You got to make them have it.
So I think that if this is my first 7, I pitch it.
Oh, 100% first 7. I said it was an interesting. I didn't say it was a great hand.
If this is my first 7, I'm pitching it. If it's my second 7, I'm gonna consider it. And if I'm in first position, I think I keep it, just because I think there's a chance that turn 1 Najeela just gets there in a lot of pods.
I think this is a hand that I keep on like a 5.
I think if I'm at 5 or 6, I'm definitely keeping it. But if it's first 7, it's 100% pitch. Second 7, it's like borderline if I'm in specifically first seed. And I think some people are playing some stacks pieces, I would think I keep it. But otherwise, I think it's a pitch.
Yeah, it is also very pod dependent, as almost every time we do this, we say that.
Yeah.
Because if the game's going to be slower, then you're easily going to be able to get through with that stuff, with that line. And Soul Partition is a very good card for dealing with some issue cards. So, and plus, again, you said it best when you mentioned about if you're in first seat, like this hand gets a lot better if you're in first seat. It also isn't too bad. No, it's actually really bad in fourth seat. Now
I don't think you can play it from third or fourth seat. I don't even think I would keep this as a 6.
Yeah, if this Soul Partition or if this Exotic Orchard was a Gemstone Cavern, then I 100% think that you definitely keep it anywhere in any other seat but first. So
yeah, because another thing to keep in mind is like this Enlightened Tutor is negative card advantage for possible card advantage in this hand, right? Like we're already saying we're going down a card to then draw a card that we might not even be able to play the next turn for card advantage. So like it pretty much puts us on specifically Fish. And if we're waiting for the second rotation, everybody already played their mana rocks, so we're missing like the biggest benefit of Fish.
So like at best we're getting our Mana Crypt to do stuff on our turn, which is not really great. I don't
like.
All right, let's grab another one.
I think we definitely value Najeela turn 1 from the first seat really highly. That's like the only situation where I might keep it.
Oh, Ancient Tomb, Exotic Orchard, Verdant Catacombs, Mystical Tutor, Fierce Guardianship, Veil of Summer, and Samet. Again, just I would auto pitch this.
Yeah, this is a pitch, 100%.
Yeah.
This
This
is even
is
a trap
definitely
hand.
a
This is really a
trap
bad
hand.
hand. Yeah.
This is a trap hand for a lot of people because you think you have a tutor on one, or even like you kind of have the fast mana to play like Najeela on two. But with this deck, like Najeela on two is usually not good. You do
So
have the Fierce Guardianship, and then you could follow it up with Samet. So it's similar to that other hand we were looking at, where we're like, okay, we got Najeela on two, Samet on three, and that's true. But it
I
just
think
it comes down to it again, where it's like it really depends on your seating position. It depends on who else is in the pod, and it's just it's really tough because even with this hand, like you don't have the extra mana to get around stacks pieces either, right? So like your turn two Najeela and turn three Samet could be turned off by some stacks pieces, whereas with the other hand, you had all that extra mana where it couldn't.
yeah, I think if the Ancient Tomb had turned into a Mana Crypt, this hand is entirely keepable. Like that changes the entire perspective because you're like turn one Najeela, turn two Samet, which
Yeah,
seems very strong.
well, especially with the Fierce Guardianship. So this hand goes
Yeah,
from a pitch to like
a
a
snap.
hand that I
snap
would
keep,
love.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was even thinking like, what if that mystical tutor or that Veil of Summer was a Simian Spirit Guide, like
Yeah.
to allow you
I
that
don't know
turn one
if it was a
Najeela.
Simian. The Simian would be kind of rough because then you're still not casting the turn two Samet.
Yeah,
I think it's important for this specific hand that we're going turn one Najeela into turn two
turn two
Samet,
somewhat. Yeah.
just for the raw card advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mystical Tutor or the Veil would need to be a diamond, Mox Diamond, for it to still be playable. Because we could like go Diamond, Pitch, Orchard, Ancient Tomb, Najeela, untap, Samet, Fierce Backup, swing, draw a bunch of cards. So, but without that, if we're not doing turn one into turn two, this hand is just like does absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I'm also like I don't know if it's like my other card game experience or what it is, but any of these like tutors that put stuff on top of my deck, like I almost wish I could get away with just not playing any of them because
Yeah.
it just telegraphs your plays way too easily. Even if you're trying to do it at like the end of somebody else's turn, it's just I don't know. It's card disadvantage from the beginning, and it's really tough to go come back from it. Like if I mystical tutor and then whatever card I mystical tutor for gets countered, like I'm just out of that game.
Yeah, some people tend to go by the old adage of don't counter the tutor, counter what they tutored for so that they lose an extra card. But there are times when you do need to counter the tutor because they might be getting something you can't deal with.
For sure. But I think it just comes down to like if I'm doing the tutor early, it's not gonna be like most likely it's not gonna matter.
Yeah. So we're all in agreement this is a pitch, right?
100%.
All right, cool. Let's see another one. Okay, I think this is also a trap hand, but we could talk about it. Windswept Heath, Tarnished Citadel, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Grand Abolisher, Deflecting Swat, Mnemonic Betrayal.
I think you trapped me because I would keep this hand.
Yeah?
I
Yeah.
think I would also keep this hand. So, especially on the play, because we're gonna go turn one Citadel Soul Ring Signet.
Right.
Like the untap just needs to be like any playable payoff card, and it doesn't even need to happen this turn. We have 2 turns because we're gonna go for the turn 2 on the Naji, so we're already locked on what we're doing for that turn. Honestly, I'm kind of curious. Let's see if we're right or you're right, Billy. Hit a draw card on there.
All right. So depending on what this, I just want to say this. Depending on what my next card is, I might just regardless of what it is, I might just raw dog this Grand Abolisher on 2.
No.
No,
I think with
there's no
this
way.
hand our win condition is Grand Abolisher into meme.
Yeah,
I
And
mean,
it's
yeah,
just
you're
like
right.
we literally I think that's the reason why this hand is keepable.
Yep.
Is because you just AFK until somebody tries to win, and then you're the second person to try to win.
Yeah,
right.
No
And
I mean,
matter
I
what
can
it
see
playing
is.
the
that.
playing the turn 2 Naji gives you the deflecting swat to have interaction to get to that point. So I think it's hands down going for for that. We're slamming the turn 2 Naji. I don't
You're
care
also
what his next
guaranteed
card
your
is.
colored mana that you need, right? Because you have the
Yeah.
Arcane Signet, the Wimset Swept Heath, and the Citadel. So like you're pretty good on your colored mana. You just need one additional colored mana. And then if anybody puts like a Lotus Petal in the grave at any point, you're so happy.
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. So here's draw for turn 1. It's a Beseiju who endures. Not
Which
looking
is
too good.
I mean, it's great to remove a stax piece. That's fine.
Yeah, we have access to green mana through the
Windswept Heath,
Windswept Heath, so we can
and the
fetch
Arcane
we
Signet.
can fetch we can fetch whatever we need to for that. So it's good to like that handles breach. So that already lines us up for the meme bet win.
Yep.
And then next one, Mox Diamond.
Golden, because now we have the mana if we got to keep our Beseiju.
Yeah, so I think this is like a hand where you play Najeela to kind of like bait out the interaction. You let somebody go off first, and then you hope the table could respond to it, and you win through Grand Abolish or Mnemonic Betrayal.
Yeah, see that's my problem there. I don't like relying on my opponents. So that like I would personally pitch this. I really like having Soul Ring Arcane Signet. If this was my first 7, I'd 100% pitch this. Second 7, I'd be like, okay, I could kind of see it. 6 is fine, you know.
Meme bet's not relying on your opponents. Like statistically, there's going to be cards in the yard when you're ready to cast that it's just going to be there. There's very few times where you're not going to have that. Like relying on your opponents to deal with threats is one thing, but meme bet is not relying on your opponents. Meme bet is just waiting for it to be there because it will be.
Yeah, and I think like even the cards we drew, like obviously they're pretty low power level depending on the board state. Like if you need Beseiju, amazing, but if not, then yeah, we just drew into more mana. But there's just so many cards that we could draw into that just instantly make this hand insane. And I think statistically, like we're gonna draw into some better stuff.
I mean, that's perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, you are 100% correct in that assessment. I'm sorry, I was middle of back spasm trying to talk at the same time. What do we say? Doing one more?
Sure.
All right, fresh 7. Here we go.
Underground Sea, Mana Confluence, Silence, Orcish Bowmasters, Ragavan, Tinderwall, and Elvish Spirit Guide. I almost feel like maybe we even want to turn one Najeela with Tinderwall and Elvish Spirit Guide, depending on our placement.
Yeah, depending on where we're at. That was my first thought.
I think that's what we do. If we're not first, like, I mean, maybe even Ragavan is just worse. Because if we're not first and we're playing Ragavan, like, what are we doing? Maybe if we're not first, it's just we save Bowmaster and play it whenever it's optimal to play it. Like we just play the Underground Sea pass and see what happens.
I mean, if you're in the first, in my personal opinion, if you're in the first 2 positions, seating positions, I think you definitely play Najeela turn 1. You know, because that sets you up for the future. Because turn 2, you could look around and go, okay, I could Bowmasters, I can, dash out a Ragavan, I could do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, what's this hand is kind of funny because you could go turn 1, Mana Confluence, pitch Spirit Guide, Tinderwall, sack, play Ragavan, play Bowmaster.
Well, I mean, I think we're all in agreement we keep this hand, so let's draw a card and see what we would.
All right, and our draw. Oh my god, a Ristic Study. This hand just got absolutely insane. Now it's 100% a Snapkeep, and you, no matter what, are playing turn 1 Ristic Study.
Pitch, turn 1 Study. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
Mana
crazy.
Confluence, pitch ESP, Tinderwall, crack.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I like how we had like 4 different lines of play, and we're like, yeah, we could do all these things if this happens, and then I guess it's just their one Ristic Study.
Yep. Go figure, Ristic Study, powerful magic card.
Can we just appreciate that so many of my mana is just exactly the same? Looking at the top, 37.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons this is your mana production. This is why I love Moxfield for this, because it's like, hey, what's your spread out your mana symbols? Oh, 21, 21, 15, 16, 16, 21. And you're like, wow, that's pretty even. Then you look at the satisfying 33, 37, 37, 37, 37, 11.
Yeah. I feel like I'm missing some mana symbols, but it's fine.
But I think, are we good to end on that one? Because that hand just got silly with
Yeah,
that Risky
I
Study.
think
Yeah.
that's a good place to stop. I don't think anything else is just going to be disappointment.
Well, no, you could have a turn 1 win. That you can do that here.
Turn 1 wins. I mean, even the turn 1 ad nods would have been pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. But that's pretty much it. So as we sign out here, Travis, where can people find you?
Occasionally in chat room. That's about it. I don't stream or anything anymore. I don't think I'm going to.
That's fair.
But occasionally I will join some of these shows, and hopefully we could play some games at some point. Upload those, but otherwise you could find me at the Eminence events if they're near me.
Awesome.
It
Fantastic.
feels
Good
like
to know
such
you'll
a
come out
forced
for-
plug.
Yeah, it's like
That's just I don't know.
That's just how he is, though. That's the worst
If anybody
part.
knows me, this yeah.
yeah.
If any of my old people from the dinosaur ages is watching this, come play.
And Max, where can we find you?
You can find me if you can get me to pay attention to my Discord. On any of the Eminence related Discords. I will respond sometimes through the Eminence email. You can find me at TrickboundMTG on Twitter, as well as I am Trickbound on Discord as well. You can find me at almost every cEDH event that's larger than 100 players across the country, because for some reason I'm obligated to be there, whether it's to play, run, or judge. As well as you can find me at Festival of Nights, the potentially Summit, and Vegas for Magic Fest.
You reminded me to add one thing. If you message me on Discord, I will not get it, and I apologize. But if you message Billy, I'll get it.
True, because I know how to get a hold of them. You can also find both of them here in the Commander and Coffee Discord. They will be around here. Just feel free to ping them in, whatever you see fit. We do play games in here pretty regularly, especially for tournament prep and stuff like that. One of the other places you could find us is Max and I do a nice little stream on Wednesdays over on the Eminence YouTube channel. We usually do gameplay testing. Max is actually going to be talking about something that him and a few other judges. That's not proper English, and it's bothering me that I said it that way.
Yeah, I can fix that. I will be on probably, I don't know if this episode will come out before it or not, but the Monday following recording of this episode, which is the 21st. So if this is past the 21st, you can catch the VOD on our YouTube. But I will be talking about some changes that are coming to tournament policy for cEDH as far as things that are run through Eminence. As well as Billy said, on Wednesdays, we do stream a bunch of Commander games with a bunch of friends. And very soon it will also extend to the Eminence Gold members.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to play with some of the locals and people across the world again. That's probably one of the things that I love most about playing this game is getting to meet so many different people. So
yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to pitch, plug, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
I think it would be really fun if anybody in the comments can guess my record upcoming weekend.
Oh yeah, because I do plan on
giveaway.
Yeah, I do plan on. I did get some new tokens, so I could definitely mail out some tokens to somebody. If you do get it right or get it closest, we'll say, how about within there's 7 rounds? Get it within 1 each way, right? That makes sense. No, 2? Just closest? Okay, that's fine. We could do that. So, yeah.
If anyone nails it perfectly,
like in cEDH.
If anyone nails it perfectly and guesses his opponent match win percentage, I will add something super spicy.
Yo, if someone guesses the opponent's match win percentage without oh no, wait, hold on, they could just cheat and look at the what's it called?
No.
I mean, their guesses will be timestamped. The comments will be timestamped.
Oh, that's true. Right. Yeah. You definitely got to.
We have to put a cutoff time.
So you could tweet at me.
When's the event start? I should probably know this because I'm supposed to.
We can have it end. Any guesses will have to be in before 11:59 on August 25th. Nice. 11:59 p.m. on August 25th.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
That's why they're judges and I'm just showing up.
Yeah, and you could tweet at me at Commander and Coffee, CMDR_coffee. Hit us up on YouTube. Leave a comment on this recording. Whatever else you want to do in any way to get in touch with me. I am on a lot of Eminence Discords. I am here in Commander Coffee Discord. You could find me wandering around the streets of, Wilkes-Barre for this event at Festival of Nights. If you're at Festival of Nights, please say hi to me. I will be there. I will be the short one. I'm like 5 foot nothing. So I look like Danny DeVito and Al Borland had a love child. That's what I look like. So you find me. Leaving off on that, because I'm all out of coffee.
I haven't had enough caffeine today.
I had an Arnold Palmer. Does that count?
It's like the alcoholic Arnold Palmer?
No.
Oh, okay. Then I guess it works. All right, guys. See you later.